Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Zhou Zhou didn't think too much about it. Seeing how polite the other party was, he smiled and said, "Your Excellency Orofa, you don't have to be so polite. Jik and Seely are two good children. They're also very hardworking in what they like to do. I actually didn't take care of them much. Your Excellency, you're too kind." Orofa sighed. He was about to achieve his 1,000-year goal. Wasn't this considered taking care of him? He wasn't stupid. After that, he didn't talk much about this matter and changed the topic. "I heard that Your Majesty invited me here to repair a pseudo-racial divine artifact." "Exactly." Zhou Zhou nodded. Then, with a flip of his right hand, he saw the somewhat tattered shadow canopy appear in his hand. "Your Majesty, please let me take a look." When Orofa saw this pseudo-racial divine artifact, his expression immediately turned serious as he said seriously. Zhou Zhou did not say much. With a thought, he saw the shadow canopy instantly appear in front of Orofa. Orofa placed it in his hand and observed it carefully. Then he nodded. "It's indeed a good pseudo-race divine artifact. In time, it might be possible to advance to a true race divine artifact in the future." "Can it be repaired?" Zhou Zhou asked directly. "Does Your Majesty have a blueprint to create this pseudo-racial divine artifact?" Orofa asked. "Yes," Zhou Zhou immediately said. Then, he directly took out the blueprint for the creation of the race's divine artifact from his king's treasure box and teleported in front of Orofa. Orofa watched for a while before a smile appeared on his face. Then, he looked at Zhou Zhou. "Before I obtain this blueprint, I'm only 30% confident in repairing this pseudo-racial divine artifact. But now that I have this blueprint, I'm 100% confident that I can repair it." Orofa smiled. "That's good. Your Excellency Orofa, let's go down and talk." Zhou Zhou pointed at the blazing sun kingdom below. He couldn't keep chatting in the sky. "Thank you for your kindness, Your Majesty. But I won't go for the time being. I plan to return to the Sun Star with this pseudo-race divine artifact and the manufacturing blueprint now. My forging tools and repair tools are all in the divine kingdom of the Sun Star. After I return, I can immediately start repairing this pseudo-race divine artifact." Orofa shook his head. Zhou Zhou was a little surprised. He did not expect the other party to have such a swift and decisive personality. In that case, Zhou Zhou didn't say anything else and directly asked, "Your Excellency, what price do I have to pay to repair this pseudo-racial divine artifact?" "It's just a pseudo-race divine artifact. It's not difficult for me to repair it. Moreover, His Majesty has nurtured my disciple and granddaughter so well. I can't thank him enough. How can I still ask for your salary? Repair this pseudo-racial divine artifact. Take it as a small token of my appreciation to Your Majesty." Orofa shook his head. Orofa was very happy to see that his disciple and granddaughter had improved so much under Zhou Zhou's command. His impression of Zhou Zhou had also improved greatly. Therefore, he did not want the reward for repairing the pseudo-racial divine artifact. "How can I do that?" Zhou Zhou immediately refused. In the end, after he repeatedly persuaded him, Orofa still insisted on not accepting any remuneration. He even said that if he were to continue persuading him to accept remuneration, it would be looking down on him. Only then did Zhou Zhou give up on the idea and not mention this matter again. "Your Excellency, I have another request. My disciple and my granddaughter have already arrived at the barrier of advancement. I want to temporarily bring them back and accept my teachings until they become true divine artifact forgers. I wonder if that's possible." Orofa looked at Jik and Seely and said lovingly. Of course, he could also take Jik and Seely away. However, they were now officials of the Blazing Sun Kingdom and had responsibilities and authority, so it was better to tell Zhou Zhou about this. "Sure. You are their teacher and grandfather, and you are also a master-level divine artifact forger. This king agrees to this request," Zhou Zhou said without hesitation. "Thank you, Your Majesty." A grin appeared on Orofa's face. Then, Orofa was about to leave with Jik and Seely when Zhou Zhou suddenly said, "Your Excellency, Orofa. Is there anything else, Your Majesty?" Orofa was surprised. "My territory is currently short of a mature master-level divine artifact forger. I wonder if Your Excellency Arofa is interested in coming to my kingdom and becoming our country's chief divine relic forgers? In terms of treatment, I can give Your Excellency a price that will definitely satisfy you. Zhou Zhou said. His current territory really lacked a divine relic forgers. He already had countless ordinary divine artifacts after all. Even the number of true god-tier divine artifacts could be stated to be unimaginable. Even for the legendary master god-tier divine artifacts, Zhou Zhou already had 10 of them. However, he did not have any divine relic forgers, even if they were the lowest level divine artifact forgers. He could only watch helplessly as some low-level ordinary divine artifacts were damaged or even scrapped due to overuse or intense battles. Even though he didn't lack race divine artifacts, he couldn't waste them favor this. Therefore, he really wanted to ask Arofa to stay in his territory. Even if he knew that Regal Great Solar and Regal Great Lunar had already given the order not to allow the god spirits under him to participate in the current Lord of all Races competition, he still wanted to give it a try. There is currently no divine relic forgers in my territory. As long as Your Excellency is willing to join my kingdom, it will be very meaningful to me and my lord's faction. I will never forget Your Excellency's decision to join our country in the future, Zhou Zhou stated seriously. When Arofa heard this, he could not help but be tempted. Of course, he understood what Zhou Zhou meant. As the saying went, adding icing on the cake was not as good as providing charcoal in time of need. Joining a powerful faction when they were in the limelight was a completely different concept from joining a weak faction. If he joined the Blazing Sun Kingdom now, he would definitely be the most dazzling existence in this desert without any divine relic forgers. Zhou Zhou would also rely on him greatly. When the Blazing Sun Kingdom became an empire, a divine kingdom, or even a more powerful lord faction in the future, even if stronger divine relic forgers appeared, he would undoubtedly be a subject of the dragon. His status, identity, and the level of trust the leader of the faction had in him were not something that the later generations could compare to. Most importantly, the common people's Regal and the Blazing Sun Kingdom were publicly acknowledged as the most popular candidates for the Lord of all Races. There might not even be one. After joining the Blazing Sun Kingdom and becoming a subordinate of the common people's Regal, as long as the Blazing Sun Kingdom could continue to grow with its current momentum, all the living beings following he would definitely have a bright future. Arofa pondered. From the looks of it, coming to help the common people's Regal was indeed a good choice. However, Arofa shook his head in his heart. Then, he cupped his fists at Zhou Zhou and said, Arofa understands the Regal's intentions, but Arofa belongs to the Regal Great Solar's camp. The Regal Great Solar has decreed that we can't join any Lord faction during the current Lord War. Please forgive me, Regal, Arofa said politely. This king understands. If the deal doesn't work out, benevolence will. I hope that after Your Excellency Regal Great Solar terminates this decree in the future, if Your Excellency is interested in joining the Lord's camp of all races, please give priority to my Lord's faction. Even though Zhou Zhou felt a little regretful, he still smiled. No problem. Arofa agreed without hesitation. Even though he knew that the other party had made many enemies among the lords of the myriad races, as a true god from the Regal Great Solar faction and a rare true god-tier divine artifact forger, he was really not afraid of this. Then, Zhou Zhou and Arofa chatted for a while before Arofa prepared to leave with Jik and Seely. Just as he was about to leave, Arofa suddenly said to Zhou Zhou, Your Majesty's Lord power level is still too low. I will do it again after Your Majesty's Lord faction advances to the Empire tier level. Really? Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. Is he going to join me? Arofa only smiled and did not say anything. How could he make such a decision so easily? Then, he didn't say anything else and turned around to leave with Jik and Seely. Zhou Zhou watched as they left before turning around and returning to the Divine Kingdom world. In the Dark Universe, Arofa was riding on the true God-tier advanced grade transportation vehicle that he had personally created, the Solar Divine boat back to planet Sun. At this moment, he was looking in the direction of the Blazing Sun Kingdom in silence. Grandfather, why don't you work for His Majesty? His Majesty is now the Lord of the 10,000th race. If you follow His Majesty, you will have a bright future. Seely was puzzled. At the same time, she wanted her grandfather to join the Blazing Sun Kingdom. That way, they could live together. Jik nodded vigorously. It's not that I don't want to, but the Regal doesn't allow it. Orofa shook his head. Then we can just leave the Sun Divine Court. Seely said. Do you think you can quit just because you want to? Your grandfather spent countless years in the Sun Divine Court and accumulated countless connections, resources, and channels. Once I quit the Sun Divine Court, I'm afraid I'll immediately lose more than half of the foundation I've accumulated over the years. Orofa could not help but laugh. This little girl was still thinking too simply. Grandfather can't bear to part with your status in the Sun Divine Court. Seely turned her head, looking angry and upset. Orofa was speechless. Then he sighed faintly. Who could bear to do that? That's the Sun Divine Court and the Great Lunar Court. They're known as the top Lord factions in the myriad worlds. Your Majesty's Lord faction is not even an Empire-tier Lord faction now. I'm a top-notch true God-tier divine artifact forger after all. Normally, even ordinary beginner-level Heavenly Country Lord factions or intermediate grade Divine Kingdom Lord factions wouldn't have me. Only high-level Divine Kingdom Lord factions or even Overlord-level Lord factions can have a divine artifact forge like me. If I lower my status and go to a Kingdom-level Lord faction in the end, not only will I be laughed at by my friends, but my tomorrow and even your future might be affected. Orofa shook his head. Seely wanted to say something, but Jik pulled his hand. Seely pouted and sulked. At this moment, Jik looked up at his imposing teacher. Teacher, since you've already made up your mind, why did you tell His Majesty that he would do it again after he obtained the Empire-tier Lord faction? Orofa did not say anything. At the same time, Zhou Fight had already led more than 5.5 trillion soldiers, 11,206 ordinary life forms, and 132 true god tiers to the Een Ghost clan's territory on 10,000 Galaxy. Galaxy was extremely fast, especially since they had activated the Dark Universe voyage. Therefore, in less than 15 minutes, they arrived at the territory of the Een Ghost clan. In the interlayer of space, Zhou Fight looked at the Een Ghost clan's territory outside through virtual exterior mode. The main territory of the Een Ghost clan was composed of 3 true god-tier regions. They were the Netherworld Divine Mountain, the Myriad Ghost Plains, and the Netherworld Underground Palace. The place where Zhou Fight and the rest were at was the Netherworld Divine Mountain. This divine mountain was 5 to 6 light years tall. It was lofty, steep, and craggy. Its entire body was black and gray, and the entire divine mountain was filled with Netherworld Ghost Chi. However, even though this place was filled with Netherworld Ghost aura, because the feng shui layout here could be uttered to be heaven-made, it actually looked a little dignified and hidden inside, making ordinary god spirits not dare to casually look at this divine mountain. What a Netherworld sacred mountain. This is the best place to raise ghosts. Zhou Fight looked at the Netherworld sacred mountain and could not help but exclaim in his heart. He could see that the potential of this place was not inferior to the true god-tier regional territory of the human race, the primordial world. Even if this place was not run by life forms, it would only take 10,000 years for a terrifying ghost god of the true god tier to be born here. That's not the best. The Yellow Emperor came to Zhou Fight's side and looked down at the Netherworld Divine Mountain. The reason why this Netherworld Divine Mountain is so suitable for raising ghosts is because there's a super large Yellow River crystal mine in it. As a true god-tier mineral, the Yellow River crystal mine is born with an extremely pure high-grade ghostly aura. This is why this place has gradually become a true god-tier territory over the years. Yellow River crystal mine? Zhou Fight raised his eyebrows and uttered in surprise. This is a top-grade Ina tribute mineral. It can be used to forge many Ina tribute divine artifacts. Moreover, it can be used to assist cultivation and even help break through the bottleneck of advancing to the true god realm. Its value is immeasurable. The Een Ghost clan could resist the temptation just for the abundant ghost aura and not mine this true god-tier mineral. Of course, they can't help it, but they can't mine it at all, nor do they dare to. The Yellow Emperor sneered. Because this Yellow River crystal mine has an owner. Who? Second god of death, lord of the Yellow River, Narrow. The Yellow Emperor uttered softly. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. Lord of the Yellow River, Narrow? That existence whose understanding of the law of death is second only to the god of death, Thanatos. Zhou Zhou asked. That's right. The Yellow Emperor nodded and said. Back then, a true god tier under the Lord of the Yellow River was the first to discover the Yellow River crystal mine in the netherworld Divine Mountain. Then, he reported this discovery to the Lord of the Yellow River, and this place became the Lord of the Yellow River. The Netherworld Underground Palace, the true god tier regional territory beside the Netherworld Divine Mountain, was the temporary palace that the Lord of the Yellow River came to. It was also he who personally created the Netherworld Underground Palace, a true god-tier regional territory. In terms of raising ghosts, this Netherworld Sacred Mountain is far inferior to the Netherworld Underground Palace personally modified by the Lord of the Yellow River. At that time, the Yellow River crystal mine in the Netherworld Sacred Mountain had not completely grown, so Lord of the Yellow River did not mine it immediately. Instead, he planned to mine it personally when it grew to its complete size. The Lord of the Yellow River had no intention of staying here permanently for the sake of a Yellow River crystal mine. Therefore, in order to prevent this place from being occupied by other forces when he left, the Lord of the Yellow River handed this place over to the nearby Een Ghost clan. At that time, the weak Een Ghost clan could not refuse the Lord of the Yellow River's orders, so they became the Lord of the Yellow River's subordinates. Therefore, the Een Ghost clan relied on the blessings of the geography here and the protection of the Lord of the Yellow River. In less than 30,000 years, they became a race comparable to or even stronger than us humans. The Een Ghost clan sure is lucky. Zhou Fight lamented. The Lord of the Yellow River was an extremely powerful master god tier existence. Among the master god tier, he was second only to the 10 master god tiers. The Een Ghost clan directly hugged this thigh. No wonder they could become a powerful clan in such a short period of time. Then, he didn't say anything else. With a wave of his hand, he saw Bai Yi, who had already become a true god tier, lead 10,000 galaxy ships out of the interlayer of space. Then, more than 5 trillion soldiers, more than 10,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tiers flew out of the galaxy. In an extremely short period of time, they arranged themselves in formation in the air and quickly arranged themselves in military formations. One after another, god spirit-level army formations were quickly summoned. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of army formation spirits appeared in the army. Among the spirits of these god spirit-level military formations, the leader was 3 9-headed hellhounds with 9 heads and pitch-black bodies that were wrapped in dense netherworld chi. This was the true god-tier elementary grade army formation he had obtained after defeating Uriel's people of Foreign Race Alliance, the 9-headed hellhound. With the strength of 10 billion extraordinary tier soldiers, he could summon the spirit of the lower-level true god army, the 9-headed hellhound. Even though it was only the spirit of the military formation, his true combat strength was not inferior to the real 9-headed hellhound at all. In fact, in terms of continuous combat ability and recovery ability, he was even slightly better than the real 9-headed hellhound. While learning from him was rather difficult, with the help of the Time World, they only used one night in reality to have 3 extremely talented soldiers in military formations master the powerful military formation of a true god-tier elementary grade. It could even be used to show off on the battlefield now. From the looks of it, it could be said that the military might was like a prison, vast and mighty. At the same time, when Zhou fights 5 trillion soldiers, more than 10,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tiers appeared above the netherworld Divine Mountain, the Een Ghost clan below immediately discovered them. Enemy attack. A panicked voice sounded. A large number of soldiers, god spirits, and true god tier flew out of the netherworld Divine Mountain one after another. Then, they gathered on the netherworld Divine Mountain and solemnly looked at the soldiers and god spirits of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Among them were Een Ghost clan soldiers, as well as Rakshasa and Sky Hidden Race soldiers. Seeing this scene, Bai Yi, who already knew the inside story, could not help but have a strange expression. It seemed that the Rakshasa clan and the Heaven-Hidden clan had done a good job of keeping this a secret. Even now, the Een Ghost clan had yet to discover that his two allies had betrayed him. He quickly tidied up his expression and flew out of the army with a calm expression, facing the 3 to 4 trillion troops of the 3 races. Een Ghost clan, Heaven-Hidden clan, and Rakshasa clansmen. I am Bai Yun, the Legion commander of the Blazing Sun Army of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. I have come on His Majesty's orders to seek revenge on you for preventing us humans from retreating to the primordial world. If you understand the situation, quickly surrender to my country. I don't want to be slaughtered by our army. Bai Yun said in a deep voice. With the help of the true God-tier divine power, his voice spread into the ears of all the soldiers of the 3 races. Arrogant. In terms of the number of soldiers, you guys are indeed better than us. However, in terms of the number of God spirits and true God tiers, you guys are far inferior to us. What right do you have to say such ridiculous words? A true God tier of the Een Ghost clan said coldly. There was nothing wrong with what he said. Currently, in the alliance army of the 3 races on the Een Ghost clan's side, although they only had more than 4 trillion soldiers, there were more than 35,000 God spirits on the God spirit side. As for the number of true God tier cultivators, the total number of true God-tier cultivators from the 3 races had reached an astonishing 352. The reason why there were so many God spirits and true God tiers was because the Een Ghost clan, Tianxian clan, and Rakshasa clan had brought their allies with them. There were at most 10 to 20 true God tiers in their own race. However, with the addition of the number of true God tiers that the alliance had rushed over to support, every race had pulled over about 100 true God tiers. Therefore, the total number of true God tiers from the 3 races had only reached an astonishing 300. It was precisely because there were so many God spirits and true God tiers that this true God tier from the Een Ghost clan dared to speak to Bai Yun like this. At this moment, he looked at the Blazing Sun Kingdom army opposite him and even had an idea. Otherwise, he might as well take this opportunity to leave this group of people here. He did not believe that they would lose to the common people's regal with such a huge advantage as a God spirit. Uriel and the Blood Moon clan must have been defeated by the common people's regal back, then due to their insufficient strength and underestimation of the enemy. He would never make such a stupid mistake. Just as he was about to say something, a Greycloaked Shadow clan true God tier walked out. It was the Shadow clan's patriarch, Yen Jun. He walked in front of the true God tier and looked up at Bai Yun in the sky. He then looked past he and looked at Zhou Fight, who was surrounded by the Blazing Sun Kingdom's army. Common people's regal. I'm the leader of the Een Ghost clan, Yen Jun. Yen Jun said, I know that you're dissatisfied with us because we stopped you humans from retreating to the primordial world. That's also why this war is happening now. But actually, because of your outstanding defense, we actually didn't cause any harm to you humans in our attack back then. After that, you even killed the Shadow Destroyer clan and the Blood Moon clan. During this process, you should have calmed down, right? Why do we have to go so far as to fight now? A race war. Win or lose. Many soldiers will die for both of us. And it's not just soldiers. Heroes, God spirits, true God tiers, and even you and I might perish because of the war between races. Why should we risk it? Common people's regal retreat. There's no need for us to really start a genocidal war. As soon as Yen Jun finished speaking, the true deity levels behind him frowned slightly. He didn't expect his patriarch to be so cowardly. He was clearly stronger than the other party in terms of God spirits, but he actually chose to give in front of the common people's regal? Is that necessary? Just as he was about to say something, Zhou Fight's calm voice came from the sky, as if a supreme god had issued an imperial edict. Yen Jun, you don't seem to understand the situation. Your Shadow Phantom tribe is already a turtle in a jar for me. When this king attacks you, there won't be any losses. Only the winner will benefit. And only death awaits you and your Een Ghost clan if you dare to resist. Surrender. This is the last chance I'll give you. Common people's regal, don't go overboard. Our Shadow Phantom tribe is protected by the Lord of the Yellow River. How dare you invade my race? You're looking down on the dignity of the Lord of the Yellow River. Can you handle the consequences? Yin Jun said angrily. Don't worry, Yin Jun. I have no intention of offending the Lord of the Yellow River, Your Excellency. After I kill you, I'll take over your responsibility and continue to guard this Yellow River crystal mine until the future Lord of the Yellow River takes over. I think that His Excellency Lord of the Yellow River only cares about whether the Yellow River crystal mints will still be preserved. He won't care who's guarding this place, right? Zhou Fight uttered with a faint smile. Yin Jun's expression darkened completely. It seemed that today's combat was inevitable. Attack. Destroy the military of the common people's regal. Yin Jun was decisive and directly gave the order to attack. Seeing this, Bai Yun did not hesitate to order the entire military to attack. The combat between the two sides immediately began. Kill. Destroy the Yin Ghost clan. Exterminate these reckless humans. How dare you invade our netherworld divine mountain? Become a corpse buried under the ground of our netherworld divine mountain. The trillions of soldiers on both sides charged at each other and quickly engaged in battle. Yin Jun stood in the middle of the army and looked at the battlefield with a solemn expression. Then, his expression turned uglier. This was because he saw the Yin Ghost clan soldiers, generals, heroes, and god spirits being beaten up by the Blazing Sun Kingdom's army. The difference in quality between the two sides was like one in the sky and the other in the ground. There was no comparison at all. As for the god spirits and true god tier, they had an obvious advantage. Yin Jun finally heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this. However, he looked at the powerful Blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers on the battlefield, and his expression turned serious again. Even though I have the advantage in terms of god spirits and true god tiers. However, in terms of ordinary soldiers who are not god spirits, the Blazing Sun Kingdom has an extremely obvious advantage. The intel was right. The soldiers under the common people's regal are really all Empire tier soldier types. But how is this possible? Where did he get so many resources and treasures to nurture an Empire tier soldier type? Yin Jun was puzzled. The nurturing of an Empire tier soldier type was not that simple. Compared to the Empire tier soldier type, the Army Extermination Knight, that only the virtuous Titan race could advance to in the past, this was obvious. Not only did he need to satisfy the requirements of a large number of resources and treasures, but he also needed clansmen who could perfectly meet the requirements for the job change. Coupled with decades or even hundreds of years of training, he would be able to complete the job change requirements of the Empire tier soldier type and successfully change to the Empire tier soldier type. As for the Empire tier soldier type class change certificate, Yin Jun didn't even think about it. To them, obtaining an Empire tier soldier type class change certificate was much more difficult than personally nurturing an Empire tier soldier type soldier. Moreover, the 5 trillion soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom were all Empire tier soldier types. How could these soldiers be recruited using the Empire tier soldier type recruitment books and class change certificate? It was impossible. He could only feel that the common people's regal might have found a shortcut that could allow them to quickly and in large quantities change their profession to an Empire tier soldier type. That was why they could have so many Empire tier soldier types in such a short period of time. At this moment, he saw True God Shunghua, Demon Flood Dragon Race True God Dickens, Shadow Clan True God Tarokal, Jackro, and more than 10 other high-level True Gods charging at him, the leader of the Yin Ghost clan. Along the way, some Yin Ghost clan god spirits wanted to stop these True God tiers, but they were all casually killed by them. Yin Jun's expression was calm, but he was not flustered. Xiaofeng, Xuechun. It seems that they are all here for us. There's no need to hold back. Let's fight with all our might. Even if we don't take down the common people's regal today, we have to beat him up so that he won't dare to invade the territory of our 3 races in the future. Yin Jun said. The divine power in his body surged, and he was already prepared for battle. Sure. Then let's fight with all our might. Xiaofeng and Xuechun looked at each other and quietly took a step back, coming beyond Yin Jun. When Yin Jun sensed that something was wrong, Xiaofeng and Xuechun, who were behind he, instantly had ferocious expressions on their faces. They each brandished their divine artifacts and attacked Yin Jun's back. Yin Jun did not expect his ally to ambush him at this time. The defenseless, he couldn't react in time at all. Half of his divine body was chopped off by the combined full power strike of the two gods, and the aura on his body suddenly decreased. Yin Jun gritted his teeth and teleported away, appearing 10,000 meters away. He looked at Xiao Feng and Xuechen coldly and in confusion. You joined the common people's regal? Why? With our combined strength, even the common people's regal can't do anything to us. After we repelled the attack of the common people's regal, we are still the patriarchs of our respective races and enjoy supreme status and power. Our race can still be independent. Isn't this better than you relying on the common people's regal? Yin Jun did not understand Xiao Feng and Xuechen's choice. Idiot, Xiao Feng sneered. Short-sighted, Xuechen uttered indifferently. Seeing that their offensive was effective, although they couldn't directly kill the other party, they weren't in a hurry. Instead, they turned to their respective racial factions and ordered, all Heaven Hidden Clan/Rakshasa clansmen, listen up. Execute the real battle plan and eliminate these stubborn Ghost Clan soldiers, heroes, and god spirits with the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Yes, sir. The 2 trillion Heaven Hidden race and Rakshasa soldiers uttered in unison. Then, without hesitation, he turned around and brandished his weapon, charging towards the Ghost Clan soldiers beside him. How could the Ghost Clan soldiers have expected this to happen? The Ghost Clan soldiers, who had yet to recover from their shock, were stabbed in the rear this time. The Heaven Hidden Clan soldiers and Rakshasa soldiers killed nearly 10 billion Ghost Clan soldiers. The Ghost Clan and the Ghost Clan had also lost more than 100 deities. When Yin Jun saw this scene, the calm and deep expression on his face finally disappeared, and his face instantly turned pale. However, what made he feel also more despair came. In the sky, Zhou Fight calmly raised his right hand and pointed in the direction of the Ghost Clan soldiers. An invisible fluctuation instantly covered the entire battlefield of the Netherworld's sacred mountain like ripples on the water surface. A text notification appeared. Prompt: you have activated your mythical tier, unique Lord talent, 10,000 Spirit Saint. All spirits see you as a supreme saint and long to follow you. Lord talent notification 1. There are approximately 851 trillion Ghost Clan members, 176 billion Black Iron Tier Demon Flood Dragon Race soldiers, 140 billion Black Iron Tier Ghost Clan members, 80 billion White Silver Tier Ghost Clan members, 50 billion Yellow Gold Tier Ghost Clan members, 35.6 billion White Platinum Tier Ghost Clan members, 10.1 billion Diamond Tier Ghost Clan members, 5.6 billion Extraordinary Tier Ghost Clan members, 3.5 billion Epic Tier Ghost Clan members, 265 million Legendary Tier Ghost Clan members, 2,561 low Tier Deity Level Foreign Race God Spirits, 1,586 Mid-Tier Deity Level Foreign Race God Spirits, 919 High-Tier Deity Level Foreign Race God Spirits, and 48 true God-Tier Foreign Race God Spirits broke away from their lords and became your loyal followers. Lord Talent Notification 2. You have obtained a Spellcaster. Lovis, Legendary Tier, Advanced Grade. When Zhou Fight saw this result, he nodded in satisfaction. This time, the 10,000 Spirit Saints harvest was not bad. He directly gave him 501,170,989,160 soldiers. In addition, he also obtained 5,066 God Spirits and a total of 48 true God-Tier God Spirits. A single 10,000 Spirit Saint had almost doubled the size of his team of God Spirits. It was so comfortable to freeload. Zhou Fight sighed. Then, he directly ordered the Ghost Clan soldiers and God Spirits affected by the 10,000 Spirit Saint to counterattack the soldiers and God Spirits beside them. Their loyalty was as high as 90 points, allowing them to accept and carry out Zhou Fight's orders without hesitation. Hence, Yin Jun, who was already in the mood of betrayal, saw in despair again that the soldiers of his race had actually been stabbed in the back by their own soldiers. Their morale had already dropped because of their allies' betrayal and backstabbing. After experiencing backstabbing, they couldn't believe in their allies and comrades. Their morale dropped to the freezing point. The remaining Een Ghost clan members numbly resisted the siege of the Rakshasa clan, the Heaven-Hidden clan, the Blazing Sun Kingdom, and their fellow soldiers. In addition to their extremely low morale and the huge disparity in strength, they had completely lost all hope in this war. Yin Jun watched this scene with his eyes wide open. He suddenly turned into a black stream of light like a madman and rushed into the fighting army. Then, he started to kill wantonly. He only used the power of a high-tier deity level, so he was not punished by the Supreme Agreement. I'm sorry, my people. I was blind to trust these two traitors. We wouldn't have lost so badly if I didn't trust them, even if we couldn't defeat common people's regal. Yin Jun was extremely regretful. At the same time, the expression in his eyes and the actions in his hands became more and more ruthless and decisive. He could no longer change the current situation. What he could do was to rely on his own strength to fight the enemy at the forefront of his clansmen. Even if the outcome of the battle was death, he would also die in front of the soldiers. He would never retreat, nor would he use his clansmen as a shield to disperse the firepower. As for surrendering, he had never thought about it. As the leader of the Een Ghosts, he was unable to accept his actions of surrendering to the He race. That would make he feel unprecedented humiliation. It would make he feel sorry for the bloodline flowing in him, as well as for the entrustment and appointment of him by his ancestors. The Een Ghost clan could have surrendered clansmen, but they could not have a patriarch who surrendered. As time passed, the wounds on his body increased, and his aura became weaker and weaker. Patriarch. Patriarch, don't. Patriarch, stop fighting. Let's surrender. D***. Let's go all out. Even if our Een Ghost clan doesn't enter the cycle of reincarnation, we will still kill a few Blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers to die with us. The Een Ghost clan soldiers were infected by Yin Jun's actions and could not help but have the tragic and decisive thought of fighting to the death. With this thought in mind, their morale, which was originally at rock bottom, actually began to rise crazily at this moment. Not only did their morale quickly return to normal, it had even surpassed their usual peak morale and reached an unprecedented height. The soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, who already had the absolute advantage on the battlefield, even vaguely felt that they could not suppress these Een Ghost clan soldiers and god spirits who had risked their lives to fight. However, the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom were far stronger and more powerful than the soldiers of the Een Ghost clan. Especially after Yin Jun, who was fighting with his life on the line, was pulled into the sword world that Qi Xiantian had created. Without Yin Jun's lead, these Een Ghost clan soldiers were like headless flies that suddenly became chaotic. In the end, they were almost played by Bai Yi and the other generals, who were skilled in commanding soldiers, allowing the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom to once again occupy an absolute battlefield advantage. Zhou Zhou watched everything coldly. If he had not known and experienced the Een Ghost clan stopping the humans from retreating to the primordial world, he might have praised Patriarch Yin Jun as a hero. However, it was precisely because he knew and experienced what he had done to the human race previously that he did not have any pity for Yin Jun's current actions. Instead, the killing intent in his heart intensified. An adversary that could exterminate an entire race? What kind of bullsh** hero was he pretending to be? Not only did he want to completely conquer this land of the Een Ghost clan, he also wanted to slaughter all the Een Ghost clan members who were unwilling to surrender, including Yin Jun. Want to be a hero? The god of death Thanatos welcomes you. He secretly transmitted his order to Bai Yun. Kill all the members of the Dark Ghost clan who refused to surrender. After receiving Zhou Fight's order, Bai Yun immediately ordered coldly. Yes. The trillions of soldiers roared in unison and surged towards the Een Ghost clan soldiers who were isolated and helpless. By the time Yin Jun and Qi Xiantian, who were both injured, came out of the sword world, There were only a few Yin Ghost clan members who were still resisting in Yanjun's eyes. Only the Yin Ghost clan members who were fighting hard with the Blazing Sun Kingdom were left. When King Yinluo saw this, he disregarded his injuries and the surrounding covetous gazes on him as he floated in midair in a daze. During this period, one true god tier after another flew over from all directions and surrounded Yanjun, not giving him any chance to escape. By the time he came back to his senses, he realized that there were already more than 100 true gods standing beside him. There was no escape. Yanjun didn't want to escape anymore. He laughed bitterly. Then, he picked up the ghost god earth-suppressing spear on his back and looked at the surrounding true god tiers with fearless eyes. "Come on!" He roared at the hundreds of true god tiers. Boom, 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 boom. Yanjun died on the spot as countless true god tier attacked Yanjun together. "We'll clear out the remaining enemies and clean up the battlefield. Then, we'll go to the Sky Hidden Race and the Rakshasa Race to collect the war resources." Bai Yun ordered. The soldiers did as they were told. Bai Yun transported Yanjun's corpse and flew to Zhou Zhou. "Your Majesty, the ghost god earth-suppressing spear in this guy's hand seems to be a true god-tier divine artifacts." Bai Yun stated respectfully. "Put it down." Zhou Fight nodded. Hearing this, Bai Yun put down Yanjun's corpse, then took her leave and returned to the battlefield to continue leading the soldiers. Zhou Fight looked at Yanjun's corpse floating in front of him. With a thought, he activated the King of Loots and the race divine artifact ability of the Lucky Star. A text notification appeared. "Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots. Perfect loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your spoils of war have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots increased by 150%. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained a perfect loots. 1,000 Divine Crystals. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. 30 million Origin Crystals. 1 Law Skill Netherworld Yellow River. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. 3 Law Skill 10,000 Ghosts Roaring Soul. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. 3 Master God Tier Divine Artifact. 9 Nether Yellow River Spear. Master God Tier Elementary Grade. 3 True God Tier Divine Artifacts Formless Ghost and God Armor. Master God Tier Elementary Grade. 3 True God Tier Divine Artifacts Soul Soothing. Jades. True God Tier Advanced Grade. 3 Yellow River Fairy Divine Spark Fragments. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. 3 Yellow River Water Divine Spark Fragments. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. 1 Hero Inheritance. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. 1 Book of the God Spirit. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. 3 Yin Ghost Clan Bloodline. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. 1 Racial Building Blueprint. Yellow River Dockyard. Unique to race. Lucky Star Notification. You have obtained a special loot. The Yellow River Token. Master God Advanced Grade. Zhou Fight roughly looked at the number of loots. There were already more than 15,000 loots here under the influence of the plus 150% loots. He did not look at the items below the true God tier level. He directly looked at the Master God tier treasures among them. Law Skill Name. Netherworld Yellow River. Law Skill Quality. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Introduction to Law Skill 1. After the user activates the Netherworld Yellow River, a Yellow River domain will form around the user. The Yellow River domain is divided into 2 parts, one of which is the Yellow River. The roads on both sides of the river are called the Yellow Springs Road. The overall strength of the living beings covered by the Yellow River domain will decrease by 20% to 100%, depending on their strength. The strength of their will decrease by an additional 20% to 100%, depending on their strength. Introduction to Law Skill 2. River of the Netherworld. If the living beings within the Netherworld domain are less than 1/10 of their total lifespan, the River of the Netherworld will welcome his exclusive fairy spirit. It will immediately lead this life form to the Netherworld. The moment it officially enters the Netherworld, it will lose its life and body and become a true dead person. Introduction to Law Skill 3. The Yellow River Path. If the living beings within the Yellow River domain still have more than 100 years of lifespan, the Yellow River Path will activate the power of the Yellow River Will. causing all such living beings to unconsciously wander on the Yellow River path and gradually lose their lifespan. Only when their lifespan is about to end will they be fancied by the passing fairy spirit and personally sent to the netherworld. Law skill name: 10,000 Ghost Souls. Law skill quality: Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Law skill introduction: the user can control the law of ghosts and summon billions of vengeful ghosts from the netherworld to attack the enemy's soul. There's a high chance of directly annihilating the other party's soul. Zhou Fight could not help but click his tongue in wonder after reading it. Of these two Master God Tier law skills, one was a Master God Tier Advanced Grade law skill that directly attacked the soul, and the other was an extremely rare longevity law skill. This was the first time he had seen the latter. He didn't think too much about it. After learning it, he looked at the only Master God Tier Divine Artifact that Yin Jun had dropped. This Master God Tier Divine Artifact was in the shape of a long spear. Overall, there didn't seem to be any connection at all. It was completely one. Its entire body was dark yellow and emitted an aura of final decay. The life form looked over and seemed to be able to see a vast yellow river from the spear. The river seemed to reflect his old age and death. There seemed to be countless dead souls buried under the river. Divine Artifact name: 9 Nether Yellow River Spear. Divine Artifact grade: Master God Tier Elementary Grade. Divine Artifact Law 1, Netherworld Sacred Artifact. The 9 Netherworld Spear was originally a strange rod that was left in the netherworld by an object from outer space. Later, not only did it miraculously survive the corrosion of He by the Yellow River, it also absorbed the rules of the Yellow River and became a sacred object with the characteristics of the Yellow River Law. The 9 Nether Yellow River Spear had an extremely high restraining ability against ghosts. When using the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear, it could cause 100 times the damage to any ghost. For living beings, when the 9 Netherworld Yellow Spring Spear stabbed the other party, it could also melt the vitality in the other party's body, greatly reducing the other party's lifespan. Even a god spirit would have their own lifespan limit out of thin air after being stabbed by the 9 Netherworld Yellow Spring Spear, and their lifespan would be greatly reduced. On the day of his death, an exclusive fairy spirit of the Yellow River will appear in front of him and lead him to the netherworld to end his life and become a member of the netherworld. Divine Artifact Law 2, Fall at the Yellow Springs. The user summons the phantom of the real netherworld through the complete netherworld law contained in the 9 Netherworld Yellow Spring Spear. Any living being above the Yellow Springs will be affected by the characteristics of the Yellow Springs. They will fall uncontrollably into the phantom of the Yellow Springs. During this process, the phantom of the Yellow Springs will corrode all the corrosive things such as the life force, divine power, physical body, and soul of the corrosive person until the corrosive person is completely corroded. They will die at the bottom of the Yellow Springs River and become a part of the Yellow Springs. Divine Artifact Law 3, Yellow River Domain. Through the complete Yellow River Law contained in the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear, the user can summon the phantom of the real Yellow River and surround himself, forming a Yellow River Domain. Any attempt to attack the user would be severely corroded when they entered the Yellow River Domain. Their attack power would be reduced by 10 to 50%. At the same time, the strength of living beings in the Yellow River Domain will be reduced by 20%. The strength of the dead in the Yellow River Domain will be reduced by 50%. Divine Artifact Law 4, 10,000 Ghosts Avoid. The 9 Nether Yellow River Spear is famous in the netherworld. Most of the dead will choose to stay away from living beings who possess the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear. There are also a few fanatics who will follow the owner of the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear. The powerful dead might choose to snatch the 9 Nether Yellow River Spear and attack the user. Divine Artifact Law 5, Yellow River Law. The 9 Nether Yellow River Spear contains the complete source of the Yellow River Law. The owner of the Master God Tier Divine Artifact can enter it with his soul and comprehend the mysteries of the Yellow River Law at any time. Prompt: Will Like Light Realm needs to recognize a master. After reading it, Zhou Fight nodded in surprise. It has an extremely high restraining ability against both life forms and the dead. This is a top-grade offensive Master God Tier Divine Artifact. He lamented and felt that only the great lunar extinction lifeless demonic blade could surpass him among the master god-tier divine artifacts that he possessed. However, the great lunar extinction lifeless demonic blade was an intermediate grade master god-tier divine artifact. There was actually no comparison between the two. When I advance another step and can use an elementary grade master god-tier divine artifact normally through the king, you will most likely be my first master god-tier divine artifact. Zhou Zhou looked at the 9 nether yellow river lance with love in his eyes. Then, he looked at it for a long time before reluctantly putting it away. Then, he looked at the 2 master god-tier divine spark fragments. After reading it, he nodded slightly. The master god-tier law skills contained in the Yellow Stream Crossing, Divine Spark Fragment, and Yellow River Water, Divine Spark Fragment, were both very powerful master god-tier law skills. However, Zhou Zhou had seen many powerful master god-tier law skills, so he did not feel much. He looked at the Hero Legacy Secret Manual and Book of the God Spirit of the Master God-tier Advanced Grade. Treasure name: Hero Legacy Secret Manual. Grade: Master God-tier Advanced Grade. Treasure ability: after using it, you can obtain the Yellow Stream Patriarchs, Nero's Hero Inheritance. Introduction: My children, lead the guests to eternity. The Golden Stream Patriarch, Nero. Treasure name: Book of the God Spirit. Treasure grade: Master God-tier Advanced Grade. Treasure effect: a mythical book that records the path of Nero becoming a god. After using it, one can walk the path of becoming the Lord of the Yellow River. Treasure description: Book of God Inheritance. After using it, you can walk on a smooth path to becoming a god, but whether you can really become a god in the end depends on the user himself. Indeed, looking at the introduction of the nomological techniques, I guess that the Book of the God Spirit and the Hero Legacy Secret Manual are the inheritances of Lord of the Yellow River. That's indeed the case now that I look at it. Zhou Fight nodded. Zhou Fight liked this God Spirit inheritance very much. This was the Master God-tier inheritance that was known by the myriad worlds as second only to the god of death Thanatos, Master God Nero after all. One could imagine how precious it was. Next, he could reward it to a subordinate with outstanding potential and let him embark on the path of becoming the Master God-tier of the Law of Death. This way, when Lord of the Yellow River came to inspect his Yellow River crystal mine in the future, he might be able to use this relationship to appease the other party's possible anger. Of course, it didn't matter if it couldn't be appeased. With the Supreme Agreement and the God of War behind him, he really wasn't afraid of this Lord of the Yellow River. He thought for a moment, and soon, a suitable candidate for this top Master God-tier inheritance appeared in his mind. His good friend, the Guardian of Death, Zhang. This little kid had been blessed by the Law of Death to begin with. He had extremely high nomological talent in the Law of Death. Coupled with the enhancement of various talents and treasures, his potential had also increased to the Master God-tier level. This inheritance of the Lord of the Yellow River was just right for Zhang. At this thought, Zhou Fight sent a soldier to call Zhang over. A moment later, Zhang and Xiao Xian arrived in front of Zhou Fight. "Greetings, Your Majesty." The two of them said respectfully and led the way. Zhou Fight looked at their more mature appearance and temperament than the first time he saw them. He could not help but feel inexplicably gratified to see his children grow up. "So this is for you." Zhou Fight smiled, and threw Lord of the Yellow River's Book of the God Spirit and Hero Inheritance Secret Manual in front of Zhang. Zhang took the 2 books with a blank expression. When he saw that they were the legacy of the Lord of the Yellow River, he immediately trembled. The legacy of His Excellency the Lord of the Yellow River? Zhang was pleasantly surprised, excited, and in disbelief. Zhou Fight nodded with a faint smile. "Use it well. Don't let this legacy down." Your Majesty, is this really for me?" Zhang looked at Zhou Zhou in disbelief. This was one of the top Master God-tier inheritances in the myriad worlds. Giving it to him was equivalent to giving him a path to becoming a clan-protecting expert. As long as he grasped the contents of these 2 God Spirit inheritances and the Hero Inheritance step by step, there was a high chance that he would become another Master God-tier expert in the future. In this era where the Supreme God Realm did not appear, A master god tier was definitely the most deserving super expert. His Majesty gave it to him so easily. He felt like he was dreaming. If it's not for you, who else could it be for? Zhou Fight said angrily. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will die for Your Majesty. Zhang said excitedly. He was no longer he when he was young. He, who had seen a lot and had now become a mid-tier Dita-level god spirit, naturally knew how precious this master god tier inheritance was. That was why he was even more grateful to His Majesty for rewarding him. After that, Zhou Fight didn't leave Zhang behind and let him leave. However, Xiao Xian did not leave after Zhang left. Your Majesty, only Zhang gets something? Xiao Xian looked at Zhou Fight eagerly. Zhou Fight found it interesting, but he pretended to be puzzled. Didn't this king already instruct Wenye to open up all the browsing rights of overlord martial arts to you? What is wrong? Isn't a top-notch master god tier advanced grade martial arts inheritance, overlord martial arts, enough? You've learned everything? I haven't learned it yet. A guilty expression flashed across Xiao Xian's face. He could barely understand the contents of the God Spirit section of the Overlord martial arts. However, when he began to learn the God Spirit section, he couldn't even understand it, let alone begin. One had to know that he was already a mid-tier deity-level elementary grade God Spirit. He could already learn the contents of the God Spirit chapter, but he still couldn't understand it. To Xiao Xian, who had always been known as a genius in the Blazing Sun Kingdom, this made he feel a great sense of defeat. However, it was precisely because of this that he was now very eager to obtain a master god tier inheritance. This was because it was beneficial for he to understand the profound content of the Overlord martial arts. Zhou Fight saw through the other party's thoughts at a glance and stopped teasing him. You want the Overlord God's Book of the God Spirit and the Hero Inheritance, right? Your Majesty is wise. Xiao Xian prostrated himself respectfully and couldn't help but feel joyful in his heart. Since His Majesty had already said this, he should be giving these 2 inheritance rewards to me, right? I have other uses for these 2 inheritances. I don't plan to give them to you. Zhou Fight shook his head. The corners of Xiao Xian's lips, which had already curled up, suddenly stiffened. Then, he respectfully said, I understand. He was a very obedient child. Since His Majesty had given it to him, he had to be grateful. If His Majesty didn't give it to him, His Majesty was also the person closest to him. He wouldn't hate him because of this. Therefore, even though he was a little disappointed and regretful, he didn't intend to continue asking for it. Wasn't it just the Overlord martial arts? With his unparalleled talent, he could at most gnaw on this inheritance for a while longer. He would be able to learn it sooner or later. In addition, I also have other expectations for you. Based on this expectation, I don't plan to give you the Overlord God's inheritance. At this moment, Zhou Fight continued. What do you anticipate from me, Your Majesty? Xiao Xian asked curiously. My first wish is naturally for you to live a happy life. The second expectation is the expectation of your path as a god spirit. Do you know about the invincible God Emperor? Zhou Fight asked. The invincible God Emperor? Xiao Xian was confused. Divine Emperor is the honorific title of the supreme god realm. It means that the other party has reached the end of the path of a god spirit. Beyond that is an even more mystical will-level existence. And the invincible God Emperor is the strongest supreme god realm in the current myriad worlds. The strongest god spirit below the existence of will. Zhou Fight revealed this shocking secret. Xiao Xian allowed out an ah as shock and envy appeared in his eyes. In the name of invincibility, wasn't this too domineering? Zhou Fight continued. Ever since the invincible God Emperor stepped onto the path of extraordinary tier, he has encountered all kinds of powerful enemies along the way. However, he has never lost. I've never lost a single match. With this invincible momentum, his realm rose all the way, and he also challenged all kinds of enemies. Until now, when he reached the supreme god realm, he has never been defeated. The name Invincible wasn't given to him by he. Instead, it was given to him by the enemies he defeated and the gods who had heard of his battle achievements. Apart from his life experience of never losing, He has another feat that few people comprehend about. That is, he has never received the inheritance of other god spirits. In other words, his deity path was forcefully forged by himself. Xiao Xian, you are born with the immortal martial sacred body. You are extremely appropriate to walk the path of an invincible god emperor. Xiao Xian, you are born with the immortal martial sacred body. You are extremely appropriate to walk the path of an invincible god emperor. Zhou Fight said. Xiao Xian nodded. He had indeed never lost to anyone of the same level. He had never even lost in battles above his level. Most importantly, he never challenged an enemy that he wasn't self-assured in. For example, he was now a mid-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirit. He had challenged high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits, but he had never challenged true god-tier god spirits. Talented people had self-awareness and only fought with confidence. This kind of fighting style that was similar to his lord's personality was the most important reason why he remained undefeated. However, he contemplated of something and revealed a hesitant expression. Are you worried about the master god tier inheritance you received previously? Zhou Fight saw through his thoughts at a glance and asked with a faint smile. Xiao Xian immediately nodded vigorously when he heard this. This was what he was worried about. Zhou Fight could tell what he was thinking and said, "Don't worry. This king knows that you have received other master god tier inheritances, but this king can resolve this matter." He flipped his right hand and saw a dejected pearl appear in his palm. Xiao Xian subconsciously looked over. Treasure name, memory sealing pearl. Treasure grade, special tier. Treasure effect. After recognizing its master, the owner can choose to seal a portion of their memories into the memory sealing pearl, causing the owner to temporarily forget a portion of their memories. If you want to recover your memories, you only need to absorb the memories in the memory sealing pearl again. Treasure description: a pearl that can seal memories, allowing life forms to forget the past that they don't want to remember. There's actually such a treasure? When Xiao Xian saw the information about this pearl, he immediately became excited. Zhou Fight could not help but smile when he saw him acting this way. He placed the memory sealing pearl in his palm and looked at him. Have you decided to continue on your own master god tier path? Or have you decided to walk the path of that invincible god emperor? He asked. I want to walk the path of the invincible god emperor. Xiao Xian replied without any hesitation. Sure. Upon hearing this, Zhou Fight did not say much and directly threw the memory sealing pearl in his hand to him. Xiao Xian hurriedly caught it, as if it was an extremely precious treasure. Remember, you have to be meticulous when sealing memories. Don't accidentally seal memories you don't want to seal. Otherwise, it will severely affect your future path as a god spirit. After you're done sealing it, come and see this king. This king will help you check. Zhou Fight said. He was in existence at the will-like light realm. It was very difficult for others to check if his memories were complete. To him, it was as simple as observing the fine lines on his palm. Thank you, your majesty, Xiao Xian said gratefully. Then I'll take my leave. When I return, I'll immediately use this memory sealing pearl, he said firmly. Zhou Fight nodded slightly. When he saw this, he was about to leave. Just as he was about to fly away, Zhou Fight's voice suddenly sounded in his ears. If you want to become an invincible god emperor, you will have to challenge all the powerful beings in the universe. This king understands your personality and knows that you won't randomly choose your opponent. But this king will still give you a piece of advice. This advice is, the last one to challenge would be this king, Zhou Fight said. Xiao Xian's body stiffened. Then, he smiled bitterly in his heart and said respectfully, Yes, your majesty. Then, he took his leave. As he left, he thought, Challenge his majesty? I'd be crazy to challenge his majesty, Xiao Xian muttered. The terror of his majesty was now known to all races. As his majesty's favorite child, how could he not know? He shook his head and looked at the memory-sealing pearl in his hand with a smile. I can definitely become an invincible god emperor. The #1 invincible god emperor in the world. Yes, his majesty is out of this world. Xiao Xian nodded and left while humming a tune. Zhou Fight did not pay attention to Xiao Xian who had left. Otherwise, if he knew what Xiao Xian had uttered before he left, he would definitely wonder if he had made the right choice to give him the memory-sealing pearl. At this moment, he was looking at the Yin Ghost clan bloodline in his hand. He took a few glances and directly chose to fuse with his chaos human bloodline. You have absorbed one Yin Ghost clan bloodline, Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Your chaos human bloodline has been unearthed with more potential. Your sixth senses powers have been greatly enhanced. Your parapsychic ability has been greatly enhanced. The strength of your soul has increased greatly. You have awakened the talent of the Master God Advanced Grade. Enhanceable Yin Ghost Clan. Yin Ghost Divine Body. You have awakened a Master God Advanced Grade. Enhanceable Yin Ghost Clan Race Talent. Great Lunar Chi Gathering. You have awakened the talent of Master God Tier Advanced Grade. You have awakened the talent of the Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Enhanceable Yin Ghost Clan, Master God. Tier Advanced Grade Soul Attack. You have grasped the Yin Ghost Clan's common sense inheritance. You have grasped the secret inheritance of the Yin Ghost Clan. You have comprehended the will of the Ghost God. Will-like light realm. Zhou Fight closed his eyes and quietly accepted the Yin Ghost Clan's bloodline inheritance. A moment later, only then did he open his eyes. He heaved a sigh of relief before a look of joy appeared on his face. As expected of a Master God Tier bloodline, it actually even gave a complete will inheritance. Even though it's only at the will-like light level, it's just right for me. I feel like I'm about to reach the will divine transformation realm. Zhou Fight thought to himself. Normally speaking, the cultivation of wills was extremely slow. It was impossible for him to advance so quickly. However, he had always obtained too many will inheritances. All kinds of will inheritances corroborated and contrasted with each other, allowing his comprehension of will to advance by leaps and bounds. Now, with the push of this ghost god's will, his will was about to reach the will divine transformation realm. However, my strength and realm have to increase a little more. Otherwise, my divine body and soul might not be able to accommodate such a powerful will. Zhou Fight pondered. The divine body and divine soul were like houses, and the willpower was like a person living in a house. If an elephant lived in a house, let alone a normal house, even letting an elephant into a house might cause the house to collapse. Then, he stopped thinking and glanced at the race's building blueprint loots. Not surprisingly, this should have been dropped by his mythical tier, unique lord talent, the Great Country Project. Building blueprint name, Yellow River Dockyard. Building blueprint level, race construction. Building blueprint effect 1, Netherworld Ferry. The owner of the Yellow River Dockyard can create the Netherworld ship and recruit the Netherworld Ferry Spirit. The Netherworld Fairy Spirit can control the Netherworld Fairy Spirit to lead the souls of other life forms to the Netherworld freely. It can also use this as a profession to increase its strength. Building Blueprint Effect 2, Yellow Spring Fisherman. The owner of the Yellow River Dockyard can summon the dead to change their profession to a special lifestyle professionals. The Yellow Spring Fisherman can fish for the Yellow Spring Fish in the Yellow Spring River. Eating the Yellow Spring Fish can increase the potential of the dead soul. When it is raised to the extreme, the consumer will awaken a willpower suitable for them from the depths of their soul and automatically enter the will-like light realm. Building Blueprint Effect 3, Yellow Springs Protection. The dead from the Yellow River Dockyard will be protected by the will of the Yellow Springs. They can freely pass through the Yellow Springs without drowning in it. Building Blueprint Description. Erases building blueprint from the Yellow River. The builder and participant will be protected by the Yellow River. Zhou Fight only took a glance, and his gaze immediately fell on the effect of building blueprint 2. There's Yellow River fish in the Yellow River. Continuous consumption of Yellow River fish can awaken a willpower that is suitable for me, and I can directly reach the will-like light realm. This. Zhou Fight could not believe it. It was very difficult to comprehend willpower. They knew very well as a god spirit who knew the concept of willpower. The most obvious example was Uriel. He could be said to be the most talented member of the Titan god race, as the master god tier seed of the Titan god race. However, he was stuck at the comprehension of his will, unable to break through. Otherwise, he would have long become a master god tier. It could be seen how difficult it was to comprehend willpower. This was the first time he had seen the saying that one could comprehend the power of will by eating fish. If Uriel were to come back to life and find out about this, who knew what his expression would be? This Yellow River dockyard must be built. Build it now. In the future, whether there would be any master god tier experts in his territory would probably depend on the Yellow River fish, the Book of the God Spirit, and the Hero Inheritance Manual. Zhou did not waste any time. He directly threw it into the king's treasure box and asked his main body, Zhou Zhou, to hand it to Zhao Changshu and the others so that they could build it as soon as possible. With the unique mythical tier lord talent, the Great Country Project, he should be able to see this racial building in less than 2 days. After doing all this, he looked at the last loots. Treasure name, Yellow River Token. Treasure grade, Special tier. Treasure effect, a supreme holy token that represents the identity of the will of the netherworld. Living beings who possess he can have an extremely high status and authority in the netherworld. Any life form of the netherworld must respect the owner of the Yellow River token, or they will be punished by the will of the netherworld. Treasure introduction, a Yellow River token personally created by the will of the netherworld. Living beings with him will automatically become the spokesperson of the will of the netherworld and have a pivotal position in the netherworld. Zhou Zhou's eyes widened. He could actually become the spokesperson of the will with this Yellow River token? Didn't that mean that even the Supreme God Realm might have to be polite to him, the spokesperson? Supreme God Realms were weaker than wills in terms of strength after all. Even though this spokesperson identity was only useful in the netherworld, there was a high chance that other existences would not recognize this spokesperson identity outside the netherworld. However, being useful in the netherworld was already not bad. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Then, he recalled the existence of Yellow River's will. According to the original spirit race bloodline inheritance I have, the will of Yellow River is a special will that is attached to the will of the netherworld. However, even though they rely on each other, the Yellow River and the netherworld are actually very important to each other. They're related to each other. If I go to the netherworld in the future, be it the Yellow River dockyard or the Yellow River token, they will be of great help to me. Zhou muttered to himself. There were also human lords on Cerulean Planet in the netherworld. If he wanted to lead all the lords of Cerulean Planet in the future, he would have to make a trip to the netherworld through the Yellow River. At that time, the Yellow River dockyard and the Yellow River token would play a very important role. He put away the Yellow River token. Then, he looked up, his gaze slightly focused. A yellow-robed figure had appeared in front of him at some point in time. He had his back facing him, but just by looking at his back, he could sense the endless sense of death, decay emanating from him. An illusory Yellow River phantom surrounded he, making he look even more dignified and mysterious, even a little terrifying. Zhou had some guesses. Then, he stood up calmly and said politely, "Greetings, Your Excellency Lord of the Yellow River." Common people's regal. The Lord of the Yellow River did not turn around. His back was still facing Zhou as he said, "I'm here for the yellow spring aura on your body." Zhou raised his eyebrows. He thought for a moment and waved his right hand. The Yellow River token, the Yellow River dockyard's building blueprint, and the 9 nether Yellow River spear appeared in front of him. There was nothing to hide in front of such an existence. Therefore, he chose to reveal everything. The 9 nether Yellow River spear. The Lord of the Yellow River said with a complicated tone, "I've been guarding this master god tier divine artifact for 100,000 years because I wanted to wait for it to completely grow into a true master god tier divine artifact for my use. In the end, just now, the embryo of this master god tier artifact suddenly disappeared. By the time I sense its aura again, he appeared by your side and has already grown into a complete body. Lord's Law, as expected of the King of Dharma. It really has the unbelievable power to command all things in the world." Zhou did not show any emotions on the surface, but he was rather stunned in his heart. This 9 nether Yellow River spear actually had such a background. He had actually intercepted the treasures that others guarded and wanted to use for him in advance. He calmed down and asked, "Your Excellency, are you going to take this 9 nether yellow river spear away?" Treasures have spirits. Life forms seek treasures. Treasures also seek their owners. Even though I've guarded this 9 nether yellow river spear for 100,000 years, I am not destined to possess it since it abandoned me in the end and entered the arms of a regal. Therefore, this 9 nether yellow river spear is yours. I won't force it. However, a war calamity has descended on the Yellow River. I don't have a suitable master god-tier divine artifact. I'm afraid I won't be able to protect the Yellow River if I rely on my Permethos serene flower alone. At that time, the Yellow River will fall, and the dead of the myriad worlds will lose their guidance and be unable to enter the netherworld normally. Then, the myriad worlds will probably be in chaos. Therefore, I want to lend this 9 nether yellow river spear from you and fight alongside me to resist the Scarlet Invasion. I'm not saying this to threaten you. I just want to introduce the situation. If you're willing to lend me the 9 nether yellow river spear, I can remove the restrictions on the Netherworld Divine Mountain and give you the Yellow River Crystal Mine. You have the blueprint for the Yellow River Dockyard. If you want to build it in the future, the Yellow Spring Crystal is indispensable. Common People's Regal, Lord of the Yellow River said, "Are you willing to lend me this 9 nether yellow river spear?" I don't think I have any reason to refuse. However, the bargaining chip that Your Excellency proposed does tempt me. There's no harm in lending this 9 nether yellow river spear to Your Excellency, Zhou Fight said. He had a thought after he finished speaking. The 9 nether yellow river spear in front of him gradually disappeared and then appeared beside Lord of the Yellow River. The Lord of the Yellow River extended his hand. The 9 nether yellow river spear slowly approached his hand and finally landed in his palm. He gazed reluctant. Lord of the Yellow River sighed faintly. When Zhou Fight saw this scene, he recalled that the other party possessed uttered that he had guarded the 9 nether yellow river spear for 100,000 years. His expression could not help but be slightly strange. As for lending the 9 nether yellow river spear to the other party, Zhou Fight did not feel much. That was because he did not stop the ownership. This 9 nether yellow river spear still belonged to him. He was only temporarily borrowing the Lord of the Yellow River. He could even cross time and space with a pondered and instantly summon this master god-tier divine artifact back. Since that was the case, why not lend it to him in exchange for the Yellow River crystal mine he mentioned? Just as Lord of the Yellow River possessed said, the Yellow River crystal mine was indeed an indispensable material if he desired to build the Yellow River Dockyard. Thank you, Your Excellency. The Lord of the Yellow River did not think too much about it and uttered politely. Then, his divine body gradually disappeared from the spot, leaving only a sentence that echoed in Zhou Fight's ears. You can come to my Yellow River Shrine as a guest after your Yellow River Dockyard is built, Regal. When the time comes, I'll definitely meet Your Excellency, Zhou Fight said. After Zhou Zhou confirmed that the other party had left, he looked at the construction blueprint of the Yellow River Dockyard and the Yellow River token in front of him. It seems that these two things are not particularly precious treasures to the Lord of the Yellow River. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ignored them. That's true. He's the Lord of the Yellow River, the top existence above the Yellow Spring. Perhaps he already has these two things. Naturally, he's not interested in them. Zhou Fight shook his head. Then, he put the two treasures back into his king's treasure box. More than 2 hours later, Bai Yun had already led the army to clean up the battlefield and collected the resources of the Yin Ghost clan. They went straight to the Rakshasa and Heaven Hidden clan to receive the resources that the two races had long prepared after that. Xiaofeng and Xuechun had no complaints about this. As a race that chose to surrender, they were already prepared to face such a thing. What's more, they were only handing over a portion of their race's resources, not all of them. Their daily expenses were not a problem. This little sacrifice was much better than the Yin Ghost clan, where almost half of their race had been wiped out. After collecting the resources of the three races, Zhou Fight immediately ordered Wanya to fly towards the territory of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire. The Yarrow Scarlet Empire was originally the territory of a Tier 3 Empire Tier Lord faction of the White Dragon race. As a Tier 3 Empire Tier Lord faction, they had 3 true god tiers as their own true god tiers. Such an Empire Tier Lord faction could be considered extremely outstanding among the many Empire Tier Lord factions in the Supreme Continent. However, in front of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire, which was also a Tier 3 Empire Tier Lord faction, they were destroyed under their Scarlet Iron Hooves in less than 5 days. This was because the Yarrow Scarlet Empire had a total of 10 Scarlet True God tiers. The White Dragon race's Empire Tier Lord faction was unable to resist the suppression of the 10 Scarlet True God tiers and completely perished. The Yarrow Scarlet Empire established a new Yarrow Scarlet Empire in this territory and began to launch an invasion. In less than 3 days, they had taken down a Tier 1 Empire Tier Lord faction and a Tier 2 Empire Tier Lord faction in succession. At this moment, in the imperial capital of the Yarrow Scarlet Empire, Yarrow Chijins, who was wearing a scarlet imperial robe, was sitting on the emperor's throne. He looked down at the scarlet generals below and reported the situation of the battle over the past 2 days to him. Big Brother Ronnie has already attacked the Meng Mo Empire. He has broken through the first defense line of the Meng Mo Empire and is attacking the second defense line. Agent Yas has assassinated the ruler of the Xianlai Empire. Currently, the imperial court of the Xianlai Empire is in turmoil. All the royal families are fighting for the power of the next emperor. Our Chamber of Commerce has already invaded the 5 surrounding Empire Tier Lord factions and has already established an initial intelligence network. We can continuously send information about the Lord factions to us. Yarrow Chijins nodded slightly. Do you have any information on that human regal? He suddenly asked. I just received news that the human race's common people's regal has already led troops to the Een Ghost clan's territory. It said that the leader of the Een Ghost race has already joined forces with the Heaven Hidden race and the Rakshasa race to prepare to resist the common people's regal's attack. We haven't received any further information yet. The general who reported the information said truthfully. The 3 race-level forces joined forces just to resist the attack of a kingdom-level lord. A mocking smile appeared on Yarrow Chijin's face. This is really an eye-opener for me. More than 10,000 years ago, when my father followed the Scarlet Divine Kingdom to attack the High Continent, the lords of the High Continent were not that weak. An illusory life race also appeared. They joined forces with the lords and races of the High Continent to force us back. It's only been more than 10,000 years, and the races of the Supreme Continent are actually so weak. It seems that the unfinished business of Godfather back then will be completed in my hands. Yarrow Chijin said calmly. He was the eldest son of Yarrow Scarlet Empire's almighty Yarrow. His own strength was at the true God tier elementary grade. The current Yarrow Scarlet Empire that he ruled was a subsidiary empire that he had specially established to train him. Even though the Divine Kingdom lords behind Yarrow Chijins couldn't enter the tribulation of the 10,000 races personally, it wasn't a problem for them to send out their own Scarlet Empire tier lords. Thus, Yarrow Chijins and the other 11 descendants of Yarrow Chijins, who were also the younger siblings of Yarrow Chijins, followed their father's orders and came to this high continent to participate in the tribulation of 10,000 races. As for the reason why he suddenly asked about Zhou Zhou, it was because the Blazing Sun Kingdom led by Zhou Zhou was an important target for their tribulation. Even the Crimson Overlord had personally issued a decree. He desired to prioritize killing common people's regal in addition to completing the goal of the tribulation of 10,000 races. He wanted to stop the development of the Supreme Will and deal a ruthless blow to the 10,000 races contest. A target that could be individually mentioned by Your Excellency Crimson Overlord was naturally valued by many invading lords of the Scarlet Empire. Yarrow Chijins was no exception. They all knew that since the Crimson Overlord had specially mentioned it, as long as he killed the common people's regal, he would definitely enter the eyes of the Crimson Overlord and be valued or even nurtured. Even if he could not obtain these, it would be a huge gain to be familiar with the Crimson Overlord. Just as Chijins was fantasizing about how he would destroy the common people's regal in the future and gain the Crimson Overlord's attention. The general who reported the information solemnly said, Your Majesty, according to the intelligence gathered by us, the reason why the common people's regal was able to attract the joint resistance of the Een Ghost clan and the other 3 clans is because the other party indeed has the power to destroy them. Previously, The master god-tier seed of the Titans, Uriel, and the people of foreign races led by him were destroyed in the hands of the common people's regal. This news has also been verified to be true. Your Majesty, you must not be careless. You cannot underestimate the common people's regal. Everyone who can attain the status of regal since chaotic era became prime existences in the myriad worlds. Even if this common people's regal is from the human race, we can't underestimate him. Got it, got it. Chijins waved his hand impatiently. It was just saying that he desired to think about it. He wasn't going to look for him now. He was now steadily taking over the surrounding empire. Tier Lord factions and kingdom-level Lord factions after all. It was already enough for him to be busy. He would only possess designs on Zhou Zhou after he had completely stabilized the region he had just formed and took root in the high continent. Even though he had an arrogant personality, he was not a boor or a fool. In addition, the Scarlet Holy Son of the Chaos Scarlet Empire, who was in charge of invading the high continent, was also very interested in Zhou Zhou. He had to think of a way to avoid the attention of that person if he desired to deal with Zhou Zhou now.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.